For more than 50 years now, a staple of Christmas has been the Sitcom Special, where we tune in for a one-off episode to see our favourite characters, well, basically doing the same thing but with a bit of tinsel draped over the set. It's not high art, but it has given us some of the absolute best comedy moments of all time. But when we think of these Christmas specials, it seems to always be the older ones that we love best.
Blackadder, The Good Life, Mr. Bean.
Are Christmas specials not funny anymore? Have our tastes changed as society moves forward? Well, I don't know, this is YouTube, it's not a BFI lecture. But today, I thought I'd take a look at the more modern Christmas specials. We all love Del Boy and Rodney dressed as Batman and Robin, and the Vicar of Dibley forcing down 3 Christmas lunches, but what about the more recent stuff? Do these specials even exist apart from the 20-odd Mrs. Brown's Boys ones? And more to the point, are they any good? Let's find out! But first, because this list is about modern comedy, we need to lay down some ground rules. Number 1. It has to be from the last 15 years. Number 2. It has to be a sitcom. No panel shows, sketch shows, or stand-up specials. Number 3. The plot actually has to be about Christmas. There are also some popular sitcoms that I just haven't watched either in depth or at all, so they don't make the list sadly. If one of your favourite shows is on this list, that's your cue to leave an angry comment and then close down the window. Number 10. The Big Bang Theory, the bath item gift hypothesis. Okay, I can practically feel the hate through my computer screen and across the fabric of time right now, but I honestly just like this one. The A-plot of Leonard being overshadowed by new colleague Dave as he pursues Penny is a little weak, but it's the B-plot of Sheldon struggling to buy a Christmas gift for Penny that really shines. It's the show putting its best foot forward by taking its most outwardly comedic character and putting him in a situation that causes him to act in the most out there way possible. From a comedy writing standpoint, it just makes sense. Plus, maybe it's just me, but I see this and I think, yep, been there. I think the slight awkwardness of gift buying and trying to pitch it as exactly the right level is such a universal concept, and filtering it through a character as extreme as Sheldon just makes it really funny. The A-plot still has some good moments, but the episode is absolutely Sheldon's, and Jim Parsons really gives it his all, doing cringe comedy, snippy one-liners, and a splash of physical clowning to round it all off.
It's a Saturnalia miracle.
Number 9. American Dad, for whom the sleigh bell tolls. Sometimes what you need from Christmas is something funny that also gives the season a giant middle finger.
Good news, sir. More American kids believe in you than they do in vaccines or the Holocaust.
No, I said something funny. This episode of Family Guy's sister show sees gun-loving CIA agent Stan Smith giving his weedy son Steve an assault rifle for Christmas and him accidentally gunning down Santa. Santa arrives and declares revenge on the Smith family, setting the stage for an epic battle. This one is absolutely mental in the best possible way. It's about as far away from your typical Christmas special as you can get, which has always been American Dad's style to be honest, and it gives both the writers and animators a chance to really let loose. It's got some great gags. Matt McKenna and Eric Durbin are great fun as Santa and hillbilly moonshiner Bob Todd, and the battle scenes are an absolute treat to watch. It's a rare thing for a sitcom to actually be visually interesting, but this one really nails it. American Dad is the perfect show to give a giant up yours to Santa, and this episode does it beautifully.
I'm gonna cook y'all a hell of a meal today, right after me and this here reindeer make sweet, tender love. Merry Christmas!
Number 8. Not Going Out. House. Having hit 100 episodes last Christmas, it's hard to remember a time when pun-laden fast Not Going Out didn't do a Christmas special.
But this being the first one after it was initially cancelled and revived, it pulls out all the stops with an extended runtime and an elaborate new set, as after his aunt dies, sharp-witted slacker Lee invites family and friends to her house in the country for Christmas, only to discover that it might be haunted. This one is constantly repeated on Dave, as in every few months even at the height of summer, so it has lost some of its shine for me, hence why it's kind of low on the list. But it's generally a solid piece of comedy writing, especially when you compare it to specials from the show's later years. It manages to tell an original story with some great situational gags without straying too far from it actually being set at Christmas. It has its weaker moments, but it's generally just a nice, consistent piece of comedy, with some great one-liners and solid performances from the entire cast, particularly the late Bobby Ball, who would always lift any episode he was in. It's not deep or complex, but if you want 45 minutes of the cast throwing one-liners around and having fun with it, this is definitely a good one.
I'd give it 5 minutes if I were you.
Number 7. Ghosts, the Ghost of Christmas. The BBC's fantasy house share sitcom Ghosts mostly drip-fed information about the main characters' lives and the details of their deaths, saving the really in-depth exploration of it for character-focused episodes. And the first Christmas special is no exception. It sort of does its own spin on A Christmas Carol, with the ghost of sleazy politician Julian reflecting on his life, while the living owners of the house, Alison and Mike, prepare to spend Christmas with family. As you'd expect, the stuff from the living characters is pretty bland, focusing on tricky relationships with family, the stress of getting everything right, and wanting to impress. You know, that bag of old chestnuts. But it's the subplot about Julian that really elevates the whole thing. All credit goes to Simon Farnaby, who plays Julian and co-wrote the episode with Ben Wilbond, because it's his performance that really sells it. He's comically sleazy and over the top as usual, but there's also some genuine depth and character development here, with Julian realising how much of an absolute shitbag he was to his family while he was alive, and finding some small amount of redemption by bonding with Mike's niece, since babies can see ghosts, finally getting the chance to be a father that he ignored while he was alive. It's a tough balancing act, but the show definitely pulls it off and manages a good mix of comedy and heart without overstepping in either direction.
In the bleak midwinter, long ago.
Well, not too much. Honourable mention. Superstore, seasonal help. This one has Christmassy elements, but it's set and broadcast in early November, so it ever so slightly misses out. But as somebody who spent far too many Christmases working in retail, it just speaks to me personally. At the St. Louis branch of Walmart-style shop Cloud9, the employees deal with the arrival of temporary staff hired for the Christmas period. This one isn't a world beater by any stretch of the imagination, but it really does capture the essence of working in retail at Christmas. The enforced jollity, the sheer volume of customers buying trolley loads of assorted crap, and the having to babysit new staff who frankly don't know shit from clay and couldn't care less. It's just an above average episode of the show, but if you've spent any time working in a big retail chain, I think you'll get quite a bit out of it.
I'm gonna be the best Santa.
Okay.
Number 6. South Park, Christmas Snow. South Park Christmas specials are becoming increasingly rare since a lot of the time a season will end in November. Luckily, 2019 gave us an absolute cracker with Christmas Snow. In an attempt to curb the level of drink driving accidents in South Park at Christmas time, Santa bans all alcohol sales until the new year, so the town turns to local weed farmer Randy Marsh to provide an alternative. This is another one that considers the meaning of Christmas and decides, nah, screw that. It's very similar to classic episodes like Child Abduction Is Not Funny and Goobacks that start off with a ridiculous problem, and then ramp up the absurdity as the adults' attempt at a solution just makes things worse, which is right up my street. It's pure South Park that this is a Christmas tradition and that everyone is horrified at the thought of spending Christmas with their families while sober. It's not one of those episodes that's trying to make a point or skewer some public figure at the expense of the jokes. It's just stupid fun in that classic South Park style. It's not exactly in the Christmas spirit, but hey, when has South Park ever been?
No, you can tell it's really clean. Santa likey.
Number 5. Upstart Crow, A Crow Christmas Carol. Ben Elton's Shakespeare sitcom gets compared to Blackadder a lot, so it might as well go down the same route for the Christmas special, as Will is inspired by a story told to him by a stranger, and yes, that is Kenneth Branagh, and sets out to save the soul of his arch-nemesis, Robert Greene.
Hang on. Hang the futtock on!
Yep, it's yet another Christmas Carol parody. But this one is actually good. Rather than just copying the original beat for beat, it uses Branagh's character to establish it's a story within the show, and focuses on Shakespeare's attempts to actually pull off the con like he's staging a play. which might not be a brand new take, but it's at least different. Other than that, it's business as usual. The cast are on great form, and all the familiar character beats and running gags are there, which is exactly what you want from a Christmas special, really. Especially considering that this ended up being the final regular episode, being followed up by a two-hander lockdown episode and a West End play with a far more limited cast. What it really deserves credit for, though, is coming up with a creative and inventive spin on a formula that, frankly, has been done to death over the years and should be left well alone. Oh, and just as a quick side note, can somebody please cast Steve Spears as the Ghost of Christmas Present in a straight adaptation of A Christmas Carol?
The ghost of Christmas Present, destined to live but one day, but such a day!
It's an open goal, guys, come on.
Number 4. Bad Education, Christmas.
It speaks to the writing quality of Bad Education's earlier years that there's dialogue implying that the writers were strong-armed into doing a Christmas special, but still managed to come up with something pretty great.
We have done some perfectly good stuff earlier in the year, and now we have to ruin it by cobbling together some underthought-through festive bollocks with a load of shit Christmas music.
Immature and irresponsible schoolteacher Alfie Wickers is tasked with staging a school Christmas play, so naturally he decides on a mashup of the Nutcracker and RoboCop. This episode is less farcical and has fewer big comedic moments than usual, and the Christmas play segment is a little overlong, more than 20% of the episode, but the jokes are solid enough that it doesn't drag too much. You don't get those big chaotic moments from the regular series, but you also don't miss them that much because the dialogue and performances more than hold your attention. It's Jack Whitehall's fresh meat co-star Greg McHugh who really steals the show though as alcoholic former actor Bonehead. Pretty much all of his jokes are absolute gold and he nails every single one.
Who wrote this shite? I've seen jobbies come out my arse with better structure than this.
There's not really much to it, to be honest. It does some interesting character work between school bully Frank and gay student Stephen, but beyond that, it's just a pretty solid script that uses its setting and cast of characters to tell a story that's very much its own thing.
Sir's got a boner!
Honourable mention. Benidorm, Christmas in Benidorm. So this episode didn't crack my top 10, but there are reasons for that. It's fun enough, but the whole thing is generally a bit weak and doesn't really hang together that well. And to explain why, I am going to have to go into spoilers. Roughly a month before this episode was filmed, Jeffrey Hutchings, who played businessman Mel Harvey, sadly passed away, and the episode had to be significantly rewritten at the last minute to write the character out of the episode and the series as a whole, which goes some way to explaining its generally scattershot quality. The episode ends with a cameo from glam rock star Roy Wood belting out his high-energy Christmas classic I Wish It Could Be Christmas Every Day, contrasted with Mel's family receiving the news that he has died. The family then go outside where Mel has laid on a Santa at his theatre to give out presents. An absolutely devastated Michael says that Mel promised it would snow on Christmas Day. Which it does! It's a Christmas miracle, until we pan up to reveal cross-dressing handyman Les on the roof operating a snow machine. And that is just perfect. One last gift from Mel, but instead of it being slushy over-the-top nonsense, we end on a joke. This episode wasn't quite good enough for the top 10, but considering its circumstances and for that ending alone, it deserves an honourable mention. Number 3. Gavin and Stacey, 2008 Christmas Special. Having seen this basically every year since it was first broadcast, it's another one that has kind of lost some of its shine for me, but it definitely deserves its place as a Christmas staple. And the reason for that is, like the series as a whole, it's gentle comedy. There's literally nothing more to the plot than married couple Gavin and Stacey's families getting together for Christmas in Essex, and Gavin announcing plans to move to Wales. It speaks to a UK audience by hitting on a lot of the tropes of Christmas, making it completely accessible, while still doing its own gags and character beats. There are moments that progress character relationships and story arcs, but a lot of it is just watching the characters spend Christmas together. It's really just a well-observed family comedy that doesn't need to stray into cliched storylines or excessive slapstick and forced one-liners to tell a decent story. You can especially see this in the present-giving sequence where the only real gag is that Nessa and Dave give everyone a single mini chocolate from a box of celebrations because they're tight-ass chances. And even then, it's not overplayed. It's more left to breathe with an air of, yes, they actually did do that.
It's a Snickers from a box of celebrations.
Oh, you got a Snickers, did you get? Cracking. Stace, what you got?
Milky Way.
Yeah, and I've got Milky Way.
Yeah, Mars.
Which really applies to the episode as a whole. At times it's sort of the Christmas equivalent of slow TV. A nice, undemanding watch that generally has a pretty warm feel to it.
And have yourself a merry little Christmas now.
Number 2. Peep Show, Seasonal Beatings. Over 9 series we only got one Peep Show Christmas special, but this one will more than do. It takes everything great about the show, the inner monologues, the farce, and just the general cynical tone, and slaps a great big Christmas filter on it. Neurotic office worker Mark and his slacker flatmate Jeremy are hosting Christmas, with Mark feeling the pressure to both impress his overbearing family and do Christmas on the cheap while unemployed. Something that only gets worse with the arrival of his unconventional girlfriend Dobby and Jeremy's crackhead friend Superhands.
Happy Christmas, motherfucker.
Cringe comedy is Peep Show's stock in trade, and this one ramps it up to ridiculous levels while never feeling too over the top. As well as that, by introducing Mark's absolute turd of a father, it also provides the final piece of the puzzle about how he developed into such a gold star basket case.
Could you not slip a muzzle on your woman, please, Mark?
All while being absolutely hilarious. In itself, it subverts the show's usual outcome by giving Mark a small victory, but it doesn't take away from the unrelenting awkwardness and cringe comedy of the whole thing, which is exactly what you need from Peep Show. You don't want cuddly niceness, you want a
merry migraine and a happy new stomach ulcer.
Honourable mention. Inside number 9, The Devil of Christmas.
This episode of Steve Pemberton and Reece Shearsmith's Inside Number 9 is some of the best dark comedy you'll ever see. But while Inside Number 9 is a comedy, it's not a sitcom. It's a comedy horror anthology with every episode being its own self-contained story. This one being a love letter to cheap, crappy horror films and BBC dramas from the 70s. But it still deserves a mention, and that's because the attention to detail on this thing is absolutely staggering. It's not just little things like the dodgy monster mask or this prop glass still having a price tag on the bottom, it's the entire production. A lot of shows would just crop the picture to a 4:3 aspect ratio in editing and then add a load of fake noise and artifacting to simulate dodgy 70s picture quality. Did Inside Number 9 do that? Did they fuck? The show cast Rula Lenska, who appeared in these kind of dramas back in the 70s, shot on period accurate vintage cameras, filmed in a studio used at that time that could support the correct lighting rig, and brought in director Graham Harper, who got his start in the early 80s with shows like Angels and Doctor Who. There is dedication to your craft, and then there is The Devil of Christmas. For production value alone, this one is worth your attention. Number 1. Two Doors Down, Merry Christine. Maybe I'm turning into a soppy bastard now that I've hit my 30s, but this one is just genuinely nice. Two Doors Down is a sitcom about a group of neighbours in suburban Scotland who all interfere in the lives of our main couple, Beth and Eric. Especially next door neighbour Christine, who is always asking for elaborate favours and who has absolutely no filter.
Now, that's her son and that's his boyfriend. And she spent £50 more on him than she did on him.
In the show's later years, almost every episode takes place in one setting, and the 2022 special sees the neighbours all meeting in a coffee shop to put the world to rights while doing their Christmas shopping. And that's it. It's gentle comedy with adult jokes, and no real stakes beyond a lost debit card. And while it is funny, one of the reasons it's at the top of this list is that it deliberately has a lot more heart than other episodes. Some context I should give you here is that Two Doors Down will often end on an abrupt note with an off-the-cuff remark,
"She's fucking nuts, isn't she?"
On the 4th of July.
Or a rug pull where a character suffers some kind of mishap. But Merry Christine bucks that trend. And this is another moment where I will need to go into spoilers. So throughout the episode, Christine spends all of her coffee shop reward points buying coffees and toasted sandwiches for everyone, as a way of showing appreciation for their friendship and everything they do for her, totalling around £70, and uses the last of her points to buy a coffee for the barista. There are also mentions throughout that Christine's daughter and granddaughter are unable to spend Christmas with her. In a typical Two Doors Down episode, this would probably end on the reveal that her reward points were invalid in some way, leaving her with a huge bill and having her deliver her catchphrase, "You bastard!" Instead, this time, the rug pull does the opposite. Christine gets a text from her daughter that they are actually able to come, and she sets off into the night to get things ready, all to the tune of a brass band playing Hark the Herald Angels Sing. And it is honestly just genuinely lovely. The whole episode manages to keep that general cynical edge that the show has, and still work in the characters' general flaws, like neighbour Colin being a bit of a pervert, Christine being rude and entitled, and son-in-law Gordon being socially awkward.
My dad's wallet got stolen and they spent over £100 on subscriptions to websites with men who've got top half female and bottom half male.
Did your dad get an actual login, Gordon, or was that stopped as well?
While also just flat out having them being happy and showing kindness to each other. It's a bit of an about-face to have it at the top for these reasons after drink driving, mass slaughter and horrible social awkwardness on the list, but sometimes you just have to say,
ah, fuck it.
And on that decidedly modern note, it's time to end things. What did you think of this list?
I say shite!
Have I missed something? Are you furious that there are studio-based sitcoms on here?
You're a fuckhead! That's what you are! A fucking shithead!
Feel free to sound off in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the new year.